Warner Brothers Animation shares first footage from Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim. See, I like that. They don't say the whole like Lord of the Rings. They just But maybe that could just be bounding or not. Is this bounding? No. Perhaps one of the buzziest event. Perhaps one of the buzziest event. I forgot the S. At the festival, the presentation for Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim stressed the scale of its undertaking. And for any of you who is wondering what this is, it's an animated movie that is going to be based off of the Rohirrim, off of Helm Hammerhand. If you guys remember Helm's Deep in the movies, Helm Hammerhand is the one credited with creating that. And it's kind of his story and what's going on surrounding the circumstances of his reign as king in the Rohirrim and Rohan. Marrying the immense detail and Western aesthetics of J.R. Tolkien's fantasy series with the Eastern aesthetics of anime as director Kenji Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. Okay, because like Ghost in the Shell was really good. Produced by James DeMarco, SVP of Action and Anime at Warner Brothers Discovery, and executive produced by Philippa Boyens and co-writer on the original trilogy. The film is intended as a standalone, a tragedy lost to time and separate from The Ring or Sauron. Okay. The nature of that story is reflected in the source material, just a few passages from Appendix A of The Lord of the Rings, specifically its section on the House of Why can I never say his name? It's set during the reign of Helm Hammerhand, voiced by Brian Cox, a king of Rohan who built Helm's Deep, the famous location from The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, a session? Yeah. Moderated by DeMarco, provided more artwork and detail. 4 things we learned. The story is about the wreckage of war. The team... okay. The wreckage of war. Interesting. Okay. I think I get what they're going to be doing. Oh no. The team was pretty happy to give away plot details. Why? Speaking candidly about its tragedy, it's all in the text after all. Boyens called War of the Rohirrim a story about the wreckage of war. She also teased the film's front-heavy structure, in which one of the biggest battles comes at the end of the first arc. And then where do you go? No! Battle should be at the end. That should be the climax. It should be it. The answer was one that she said, whatever that name is, helped to shape, and it's become, and as it becomes a story about supernatural grief, that becomes akin to a ghost story? Notice the main character, which Tolkien never named because she was... Oh no. No! 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 War of the Rohirrim will be seen through the eyes of a mostly unknown character. Though Helm Hammerhand, the creator of the fortress Helm's Deep, will be a familiar one to Lord of the Rings fans, the film's protagonist will be lesser known. One who, until this point, is only called Helm's daughter in Tolkien's appendices. Oh no! Oh no! One of the reasons why they chose Hera, voiced by Gaia Wise, for the film's subjective perspective was a pragmatic one. Everyone else died. Oyman said, but also because they felt Hera was a more interesting figure to follow through a feudal patriarchal warrior culture. No! 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 And as a figure who only vaguely exists in the text with the character's portrayal, the team stressed a combination of vulnerability and hardiness, and that they didn't want her to be a standard issue warrior princess. No, 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 no. I had such high hopes for you. You were a director in Ghost in the Shell. What? And she's a no, no, no. They filled in the gaps by what gaps? The whole it's a blank. Oh my god. That's why they chose her, because she's a blank canvas. Oh, no. I I had hopes. I had high hopes for this. No. They filled in the gaps by going back to what they interpreted as Tolkien's own influences for the Rohan. In early Anglo-Saxons, Hera herself is depicted by wow, that's a name, Lady of the Mercians? A similarly buried figure in English history. Other characters were more defined by Tolkien's text, such as the main antagonist Wolf, but the team still put their own visual spin on him. He does pretty bad things, so he better be someone beautiful. Comment relating the feedback from his design team. I mean, from someone who worked on Ghost in the Shell, I can see that. I can see where he thinks that. Ask Purple about that English figure. She knows all about her. Huh. I will do that. So, like, I can understand him saying that the antagonist should be beautiful because bad things look good for a lot of people. But this statement worries me because of the context of the world that we're living in right now, where they are trying to make the antagonists relatable and look good to the audience. Like, not look good, but they want a sympathetic bad guy in this modern day and age. And this, what he's saying to me, has all of the markers of this is going to be a sympathetic villain, which, if it is, I'm going to be really disappointed in this director because Ghost in the Shell is a near masterpiece. This worries me. The film will return to several familiar locations from Peter Jackson's trilogy. I remember when villains were just, well, villains. Right, Boba? Right. I was so excited. Like, y'all don't understand. I was so hopeful because I was like, anime is doing well. Animators know what they're doing. Like, the Japanese know what they're doing. And he's like, he worked on the Ghost of the Shell. That's a great anime. I love it. A Japanese inspired ghost story with a feminist made up character made up around Helm Hammerhand, written by Boyan's daughter. The film will return to several familiar locations, right? Set roughly 200 years prior, the team had to figure out how both create visual consistency with the film series while reimagining what these places would look like. It's all right, Salty. I'm a bigot too. To do so, they consulted Weta Workshop. Weta. Pulling old CG models of the locations from their archives, as well as consulting with designer David Faulkner. Also working on the film at a concept and design level are John Howie and Alan Lee, illustrator who worked as concept designers on Boyan. Spoke of her desire for more realistic style of animation, but also questioned simply slotting the characters we already knew into a new medium. So the team worked on a balance between visual consistency and creating something that felt unique. Himself feels like a visual basis for this on a character level, embracing a highly detailed art style with a bend towards realism. Apparently people can't just be evil. Everyone is apparently good despite their actions resulting in suffering for those involved. Yeah, Boba. This really bothers me. Because this shouldn't be bad. There's nothing about this that should be bad. They don't like War of the Rohirrim is supposed to be out like it. I got one image. Why? You know why? Because then again, that's what happens when you try to blur the lines of good and evil. There's just no more line. Yup. I mean, I think that art style looks cool. Sure. I think it would look cool. This movie should have been the events leading up to the war, and then the war should have been the high point, the highest point, and maybe 15-20 minutes of aftermath, like kind of what happened, a little bit of what happened afterward. I want this to be good. I need this to be good. Will it be? Odds not looking good for that. F knows. Horses were among the team's biggest challenge to animate. One of the biggest challenges came simply from the nature of the Rohirrim. The Rohirrim. Don't say of the Rohan. Rohirrim. Whoever wrote this article, I need you to understand that you messed up. From the nature of the Rohirrim themselves as horse lords, and the sheer number that the team would have to draw, and even just drawing one is Joseph Chow trailed off. To remedy this, the animation crew was sent to a horse farm to film it, experience it, be scared before using CG animation as placeholders and Unreal Engine to simulate scenes and experiment with the different camera angles. Before using hand-drawn animation for the final result, similar methods were used for human characters using a combination of CGI models, live-action reference, and real-time simulation for the animators to interpret, but not to rotoscope, they stressed. Okay, this makes me happy that they actually took the time for their creators to go see how a horse actually behaves and then create based off of that. I think that's a good move to do. I think more people should actually take that much time into this. So I think that they're going to work hard on this. I just hope, like, if everything else looks good, if everything else sounds good, but it's not written well, that's what's good. I think that this possibly could look really good and be really good if the writing holds up, which right now I don't think the writing's going to hold up. 2 exclusive clips showing rough animation were shown to showed how these methods worked in concert. The film leans into visual familiarity to start with traditional Lord of the Rings voiceover and a shot of a weathered map before moving into camera work emulating Jackson's sense of scale and reverence for the mountainous landscape as Hera rides a horse through rocky hills. The second sequence was more subdued but also busy, full of characters talking in the halls of Edoras, with some of the aforementioned placeholders. Kamiya said that the project was one of his largest ever undertakings, and in the moment, as though to sympathize, the laptop showing the presentation on it displayed low battery. The resultant work seems full of visceral detail, the quick and intense promo that closed out the presentation laced with flashes of dismembered limbs and arrow wounds, and of course plenty of hand-drawn horses.
A few moments later.
That's what we're given. Uh,
2,000 years later.
uh, I hope. I hope it's good. I really, I really, really hope it's good. Because if it's not, that's it. We're gonna lose a lot of. There's gonna be hell to pay.
One eternity later.
I'm beyond upset. The only hope that I can think of for this, the only thing I can think of that would, I'm hoping. So this is going to be basically like the only thing I can probably like help you guys understand what it's going to be like. It's going to be Lord of the Rings through Eowyn's eyes. I feel like that's what's going to basically it's going to be like is we're going to follow Eowyn and see all of the events of the War of the Rohirrim through her eyes. I wonder if she's probably going to fight in the war. She's going to girl boss it. She's going to... I'm not no man. I bet we're going to get some shots of something of Legolas or what young Legolas is doing. Or what young Aragorn... Well, no, he won't be alive by then. And he's got at least 100 something more years before he's alive. I mean, technically, if they don't break canon, like, because as far as like what the article has said, so like right now, they haven't technically broken canon. They have the rights to the appendices. They don't have a name for the Orl's Jarl. I'm just gonna say Jarl's daughter. So they can have some creative liberties with that. I can see that. I just opening up with the battle, like the battle should be the high point of the movie. It shouldn't be the part of the movie that kind of happens first, unless like, I mean, sorry, my thoughts are all kind of jumbled because I was actually like, this kind of caught me off guard because I was hoping that this was actually going to be pretty good. I mean, they like overall, like this is still better than Rings of Power because they are not, they are completely honest with where they're getting their source material from. Yeah. And this is me putting on my optimism cap. Just optimism just hopefully flows out for a couple minutes. It's already done better than Rings of Power because they were honest about where they're getting their source material from. The appendices, they never once said that they were getting it from Silmarillion, Unfinished Tales. Like they were like, we are getting our material from the appendices, Helm Hammerhand. We know the basic understanding of what happened surrounding Helm Hammerhand and the circumstances. His story hasn't really been told in detail and in depth. We have a lot of room to play with. Already just by that standard alone, it's going to be better than Rings of Power, in my opinion. I think it's already going to be better than Rings of Power just from that alone. I mean, the only thing I can think of with them saying, like what the aftermath of war is, I believe what's going to happen is we're going to have Girl Boss. She's going to, want to fight in the war. She probably will fight in the war, or we'll see some footage of the war happening. She's going to see her father die. Oh, she's going to have horrible, PTSD from her dad dying. And the throne is probably going to be like, there's going to be a Game of Thrones type thing where the, Helm Hammerhand's seat is open and she's going to try and take the throne because it's her right. Or she's going to have to fight for the throne with maybe a cousin or something, and just kind of understanding the devastation of after the war, like Rohan just trying to piece itself back together, and just a lot of very chaotic, maybe bands of bandits trying to, maybe some orcs try and take advantage of the situation. I think it's going to be very chaotic. We're going to follow her bid for the throne. My dead houseplant is better than Rings of Power. You know what? I agree. My dead houseplant is also better than Rings of Power. They're going to go against Tolkien canon by destroying Edoras. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to be positive here, Salty. Gosh dang it. I mean, it could be an interesting story if done well. It could be interesting seeing who takes the throne after Helm, which is probably going to be his daughter. What's up, Emperor Doomsday? We are talking. We have moved on from the Halo talk, and we're talking about the War of the Rohirrim a little bit, because we've got some information about that, and it's basically going to be, we're going to go through the eyes of Girl Boss and see everything through Girl Boss's eyes on the War of the Rohirrim, where her father's going to pass away, and she's going to be disheartened. She's going to say, "I'm going to avenge my father." Ugh. Yeah. I want this to be good, but not a Violence Saga knockoff with girl power men bad BS. Yeah. Yup. Yeah. I mean, the artwork looks like it could be good. I think that they did a really good. They're going in the right direction by having the artists go out and film horses, because Rohan is were horses, like they are horse people. So them realizing they need to get better at animating horses, because this is going to be an animated movie. It's going to be a movie. So I understand they're working within a time constraint, but the thing that really bothers me is the war takes place like sooner than it should. It takes place like closer to the middle, like beginning/middle of the film. And we're basically going to see all of the, I imagine that we'll actually have the war film taking place probably within the first 15 to 20 minutes of the movie. And then we're going to just see all of the aftermath of the war. Like, I imagine they're going to be fighting with the Aorlings. And if you don't know who those are kind of like the humans that were there first, and Rohan kind of kicked them out, and just kind of this civil war between them. That's why that's about the War of the Rohirrim, or the aftermath of the Aorlings attacking Rohan and the Rohirrim citizens, and 2 hour 10 minute. Yeah. I just, the main part that concerns me is basically that we're going to be seeing the world through the eyes of Helm Hammerhand's daughter, who was not named in the appendices, but now she has a name, and she's going to be the main character of this movie. Which, like, if they Rey Skywalker, or if they Rey Palpatine this, I'm going to be really upset. I mean, the same director that worked on Ghost in the Shell is working on this too, which I really hope that gives me hope. That gives me something to like. I hope he doesn't let them trash this. But just from the article we just read, like, it's looking grim, guys. It's looking grim. But I'm holding out hope. I really am. Because it has the potential to shut down Rings of Power. Even if it's not as good as Jackson's film trilogy, which it won't be. Like, let's be honest. Like, just with the article we just read, it probably won't be. But it has a chance to show up Rings of Power, and I hope it does. I hope it does. I hope that Rings of Power is basically annihilated because of this movie, which I hope the movie is really good and going to be worth it. But if it's just meh, it's still going to be better than Rings of Power, and I will support a move in the right direction. If nothing else, if it's trashy trash, like if it's just horrible, I'll call it out. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch the movie for sure, and I'll call it out. If it's trash, I'm gonna let y'all know it's trash. If it's good, I'll let you know if it's good. I'm hoping, like, fingers crossed, y'all, that it might have some cringy stuff, because this is just the world that we live in today, that they can't make a movie without putting political BS in there. But if I can get past it, it's going to be the hope. I hope I can get past the cringiness of women power. And I'm a woman, and I'm tired of seeing like all these strong women that have no flaws. Like, give me a flaw, give me something that I can work towards, give me something that, like, I'm not perfect, no woman is perfect, let us fail, let us get back up. The hero's journey. You do good, you fail, you get back up and do better. That is the hero's journey. And a lot of shows and movies nowadays just take out the hero's journey. It's like, oh, they're the bestest ever. That's not what I like to see.